This is the Dave Elliott Show.
Good morning. It is the day after all the chaos, and we couldn't be happier that it's the day after. There'll be a brief respite, and then we'll start seeing ads again soon for everybody who's wanting to vilify everybody else. The primaries are over, and it's Wednesday, so we can go back to learning about plumbing and car sales and who knows what else on TV. It's going to be a hot one today. We're looking at temperatures somewhere in the mid-90s, and the heat index today is going to be a good one. It's been like this for about the last week. We're looking at temperatures, feels like temperatures of about 108, 109 degrees. One of the hottest guys in town right now is the publisher of Life in Naples magazine, former Naples City Councilman Reg Buxton, who joins us on the phone this morning. Hi, Reg.
How you doing, David?
I'm doing great. Thank you for hanging out with us this morning.
No problem, man.
Let me ask you this. Were you surprised by any of the election results that you saw last night?
A little bit. Some people thought that the 19 would have been a little different.
Well, I was hearing that Schwartzel was slightly ahead in polling, but I've learned not to trust polling so much anymore.
Yeah, because it depends whose poll it is, right? Yeah. Did you poll his family? Did you poll somebody else's family? I thought Oberweis would do better than he did. If Lau would have got the Trump endorsement before voting started, okay, she may have been a
better position
because of Trump's endorsement. But you have to remember that endorsement didn't come out until Sunday. By Sunday, normally when you look at an election, you get a third early voting, a third by mail, and a third day of. Okay, if you look at it like that, and it's going to be close to that this time. 2/3 of the people already would have voted when it came out on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm curious why, if he was going to endorse, he waited so long.
Yeah, I'd be even curious if he really did it, but.
Really?
Well, a dubious pack, I believe, involved with her. There was a lot of stuff said that didn't happen, and a lot of things that happened that weren't said. And I don't know.
Your other favorite candidate, Casey Askar, had another bad run at it. He ran 2 years ago?
Yeah, no,
4 years ago.
4 years ago, first time, yeah, but he won this time.
Oh, he's not in District 19.
No, Askar's in 22, which is which is the new district that some artists carved out of the state. Askar beat. That was a naughty campaign. Everybody called everybody everything except a human.
I couldn't tell who was who, and when I had already voted, so I don't remember who was on the ballot except the person I voted for.
Yeah.
And it was very confusing because at no point in the campaign did any candidate ever say what they were running for except for Byron Donalds.
Yeah. Byron won big. He should have won big. He's done very well. Since he's become an elected person.
$111 million war chest. So he's
and that's, you probably even could get somebody to vote for Reg Buxton if he had $111 million. But I digress. Byron should be our next governor. I would think. You look at who the Democrats got, who they ran, what you got on tape about what Jolly has said and everything, and he hasn't taken any of it back. And then you look at the money. And there's more money there, I think, in a Republican state if needed by future Governor Donalds. I don't think he's going to need it. He ran a good campaign, so You never know, and that's why they call it politics.
Well,
Politics
the
and horse racing.
thing that got me was the people who were running. Chris Collins, who came here from New York after having gone to jail and then getting pardoned.
Right.
He's 78 years old. Now, you and I are up there in years. There's no question about that. And I don't mean this to sound evil, but Jim Oberweis is 80. Isn't he a little bit too old to be going to Congress?
Well, that depends. If you talk to McConnell in Kentucky.
Well, you can't talk to McConnell in Kentucky because nobody knows where the hell he is. And if he's even able to talk.
Good comeback. Yeah. I think the good thing is in 22, which is a new district, it kind of took Diaz-Ballard's district away and changed it. Diaz, and now Mario's now got his own thing over there and stuff, and he'll get reelected and he'll keep doing good things. But 22 is part Collier, part Hendry, and then goes all the way over to Broward. Okay. In fact, it goes within about 15 miles of the ocean over there.
It is the classic example of gerrymandering.
Right. Absolutely. Now, the good thing is, and what Casey did is, first of all, he reminded people here, Collier County, that he's their guy. Okay.
At least in part of Collier County.
Right. He's part of Collier County. Now, if you were somebody on the other coast, are they going to care about Collier County once they get elected?
No,
not really. So Casey's big task when he wins will be to make sure that he is very visible on the other side of the coast, which isn't exactly next door.
Well, he's got to do that between now and November.
And do that between now. Yeah. There were. Let me see. What do we got? 17, 24. So there were 33,000. The top three candidates on the Republican side of 22. There were 33,000 votes cast. Okay, and the top two candidates on the Democratic side of 22. There were 36,000 votes cast. So the person that won on the Democratic side, Paul Danolia, got 25,000 votes, and somebody by the name of Early had 11. But those were the top two on the Democratic side. So Casey got almost 15. Corbona got 9, and our favorite naughty person, Kaiser, got 8,700.
Naughty person.
Well, I never heard one good thing say. It always was negative.
Well, that was all she had.
So, if you look at the numbers, let's just look at the top three. Well, actually, I only have 2 in the Democrat. More Democrats voted than Republicans. Does that mean there's more Democrats than Republicans there? I would think not, because what's the funny word, gerrymandering? When that was done, it was done so that there would be a Republican majority in that.
But you do have something, and this is maybe a little cliche, but you have something called the enthusiasm gap.
Yes.
And right now, I say this not as an advocate, but as an observer, Democrats are very enthusiastic about trying to regain the House of Representatives and possibly the Senate. Right. With a president whose approval rating yesterday dropped to the lowest of his 2 presidencies at 33%. They think they have an opportunity here. And under normal circumstances, in a midterm election, the opposite party in power almost always wins.
Absolutely.
They have that going for them as well. And I'm not trying to root for one team or another. I'm just pointing out what the realities of the situation are.
Yeah. You don't have to be a major historian to know that. It's not like you got to dig. It's just out there.
So by rights, that 36 to 33,000 vote margin should actually have been greater on the part of the Democrats.
Yeah.
And of course, midterms traditionally, primaries have low voter turnout in the 20% area, usually 22, 23%. The actual midterm election in November will probably have higher voter turnout, although there is no presidential contest, but there is a governor contest. So I think in the state of Florida, you're going to see, I don't know, probably 40-50% turnout. Would you guess?
I would think so. Yes. And you have to remember that our people have 1.5 million advantage in voters in the state
Overall. But then you have to consider this so-called enthusiasm gap.
No, absolutely. So, it'll be interesting.
Well, you remember Andrew Gillum barely lost to Ron DeSantis in the first term.
Yeah. Well, the only good thing, there certainly would have been of the two guys, Gillum and DeSantis, there would have been, if Gillum had won, he would have been the first governor that probably served 2/3 of his term in jail.
Well, he wouldn't have served 2/3 of his term. He would have been booted out of office, and
but I mean, Gillum, they just busted Gillum again 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know.
What a
you don't know what you don't know during an election, which only goes to show you that marketing, and you know this better than anybody, being in the publishing business.
Yeah,
marketing is everything.
Absolutely.
Who do you think ran the most effective campaign? I'm going to base this largely on TV ads because that's and postcards. Oh, if I would have kept all the oversized postcards I got, I could have built a house with them.
Yeah, at least started a lot of fires or something like that. Yeah.
well, let's not go there, but
I mean, I got in the last week and a half, I got almost. People don't understand. The larger the postcard, the more the money. This isn't the more the money you spend in making it, the more the money you spend in mail.
Mailing.
I got some stuff from Collins that were like 12 by 12s.
Yeah, there were huge things.
Just huge things. And then I got piles still sitting here. The pile for Schwartzel and Oberweis in 19 are the two highest. The what do I want to say? The Texas and stuff from Lau were more.
The text. I feel completely invaded by the politicians who deluged my inbox with ridiculous. Here's the voter. 3 hours left to vote today. Here's the official voter guide to keep Florida green or blue or purple or red
whatever it is.
Color it is. And that has to stop.
Well, I mean, it's I'm very good at a lot of things. Some technical stuff, I asked Sandra Lee the other day, I said, is there any way you can turn text off on your phone? She said, no, I don't think there is.
You can turn texts off. You have an iPhone, right?
Yeah.
You can turn texting off. The problem is you won't get texting from anybody.
Yeah, see, that's the bad thing.
I report every one of these political things that came to me. I reported them as spam, and what they do is they never send it twice from the same phone number.
Yeah. They just keep. So it's a invasion of your privacy. In all seriousness, I mean. But
it's a legal invasion of your privacy.
But it's a legal invasion of it. That's right.
No, it's illegal. It's legal for them to do this because they have exempted themselves from all the rules regarding junk mail and texting and everything else.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
So, but we got what we got, and let's see what happens with it. I think we're going to have good candidates going forward. Some districts, just by the way of the makeup, what party you're in, you're going to, like in 19 is overwhelmingly
red
Republican.
Yeah.
22, obviously, by the mere fact that it was just created by Republicans, you have to say that is, I don't know whether overwhelming is the word there or not, but they figured that they can cover that. The state of Florida. I mean, Byron always did good in his congressional races, and obviously he did great yesterday, and he has the war chest. So in politics, you never if you're smart, you've been around and you played games. It ain't over till it's over, but you pretty much know what it should be when it's over. That doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it should.
Yeah.
So great enthusiasm on his part. I happened to go last week. They had a old timey rally, where there's just not one person speaking, a bunch of people spoke. They had it at the VFW. It was well run and a lot of enthusiasm, and a lot of politicians got up and said their word and everything. It's kind of gears you back to my grandfather was a Democratic power broker in the state of Michigan way back, in the 40s and 50s. And I remember growing up as a kid in the 50s and 60s, going to him to different places and just marveling.
Was this in Flint?
Yeah.
Who is your dad? Who is your grandfather?
Doc Price. He ran for sheriff a few times, but he was an honorable. He was involved with Ruther and all those guys.
Oh, Walter Ruther from the UAW.
Yeah, UAW. So the dark side of the moon.
I was just trying to see because I was familiar with a lot of the power brokers in Flint at that time. My best friend's mom was the chairman of the Genesee County Democratic Party.
Powerful position back then in Genesee County.
Her name was Fran Phillips, and her husband was a veterinarian and was the mayor of our town at one point.
Okay.
And so I was and a guy who came out of that town, Don Regal. Remember Don Regal?
Don Regal was a Democrat. Then he figured, I think it'd be better off if I was a Republican. And was a Republican the guy for, I think, until he decided. I don't think he ever got defeated. I think he finally decided, you know what, I had enough.
Well, he ran. He was both a congressman and a senator.
And a senator, yep.
And he moved up north to the area that we love to go to visit, Traverse City.
Yes.
I would run into him with his new wife on the street from time to time. I had interviewed him numerous times.
Yeah, that usually happens with politicians sometimes. The new wife part.
Yeah, the new wife. Can you say Connie Mack?
Not enough times. I try not to say much because his dad was the greatest gentleman I ever met in my life.
I totally agree with you on that. And another great Florida politician, Porter Goss, was
Absolutely.
In the same category.
Yeah, and
former
his
head of the CIA,
Chauncey, Yeah. Oh, yeah. I may know something about that. But Chauncey, his kid's doing a great job still in the water deal here. But my grandfather, who used to had a big Cadillac, and on Saturdays he would take me out for a ride. Okay.
It had air conditioning, didn't it?
Oh yeah.
That was unheard of in the 50s and 60s.
And he would, kind of talk, and he'd say, and he'd give me bits of wisdom that at the time I'm thinking, well, gee, that's fine, Gramps. Where's the ice cream cone or something, But he said, Reg, and when he said that, I've got my sitting next to him in the front. And I said, yes, Grandpa. And he'd say, let me tell you something. You may not understand this now, but you will when you get older and smarter, which meant, listen up, kid. This is going to count. He said, it is much better to own a politician than to be one.
Well,
I filed that away.
Interesting statement, and it turns out it's truer now than it was then.
Yeah.
Although in those days, everything was done in cigar smoke-filled back rooms.
Oh yes. Yeah.
And they would come out and somebody you'd never heard of would mysteriously win an election by a landslide.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. I mean, my grandfather supposedly worked for General Motors. I never saw him go to work.
Everybody worked for General Motors in the 50s and 60s.
But then he'd say, this is how it's going to go. And I said, how do you know that? He said, well, it just makes sense. Well, it didn't make sense at all to anybody. But like you said, there were a bunch of guys in a room with a whole bunch of power, and they said, well, all right, who's up? Whose turn is it? Who's going to do it?
Yeah,
who's
exactly.
going to do what we and okay, that's the guy. the guy wakes up the next day and he is somebody. Yeah.
What do you think of all the PACs that got involved in the primary and that we're going to see in the general? There will be a lot of dark money.
Oh yeah, you can usually, you got to be really good at it, or know somebody that's really good at it. I will put myself in the second category, but if you can dig long enough and know how to look, you can eventually figure out who's driving the pack.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it'll take you a long time, but there was rumors that the one reason one candidate had all this is because the people behind that wanted to be able to drill in the Gulf, and they figured if they had their vote, that would help them get that happen. I don't know whether that's true or not, but that's when somebody I know very well dug into that and found that out. So,
who do you think ran the most positive campaign of the local candidates?
Positive campaign?
Because I have a theory about it.
Okay.
I think Schwartzel did.
Yeah, he ran a very good campaign.
He ran a couple of negative ads, but they were aimed at Oberweis, Kaiser, and Oberweis, Kaiser, and who was the other one? Calling them carpetbaggers, but it wasn't. It turned out, in fact, that one of the local TV stations ruled that ad mostly true.
Oh, well, I know somebody who was at that meeting where the candidate was asked, who's your mayor, who's your representative, who's this, and they couldn't answer anymore.
Catalina Lauv.
Yeah.
She was unable to say anything about local people.
Yeah, so, but I think and Schwartzel got, I hear a lot. Well, here he is running around in his little red truck with his name on it and all that kind of stuff. Well, obviously it worked. He won. Yeah,
he was the only guy who could claim local. I know the community.
Yeah,
and I really think that's what won it for him. Plus, he's, he looked good on camera. He said all the right things. He said everything everybody else was saying in terms of who he was.
But he lived here.
And he grew up here, and he went to school here. And whether you like the guy or not, and I worked for him at one point in my radio career. Whether you like him or not, he came across as the boy next door.
Yeah, so now he gets to go up
and
as a freshman,
play in the big leagues.
Yeah, where you don't even get a seat at the table your first term. You kind of stand outside, and if they need something, they send you for it.
People don't understand how it works. Extra cream, please.
Yeah. People don't understand. I mean, that's why it was the person we talked about earlier, Mr. Mack. What was he? 4 or 5 terms?
Junior, I don't remember. Connie Mack the fourth.
Yeah.
I don't think, did he go that many terms? I think he went 3 or 4.
Yeah. But
in fact, if you think about it, as ruby red as this district is, we've had not too many people who have made multiple terms out of it. Francis Rooney, Kurt Clausen come to mind.
Yeah.
We seem to have had a problem keeping people in that job for a long period of time, and I'm okay with that.
My overview of that is first of all, if you don't have at least 2 terms on your vote, working on your third, you're not going to be a vice chair of a committee or something. You're not going to be in a position of power. You're going to be a vote in a room that when the committee chair says, "All right, guys, what's the vote? Thank you very much." You don't have to say anything, okay? But if it's your first term or your second term, you're not there yet, because the guys in front of you got 4 terms, 5 terms, 6 terms, or something like that, and that has hurt us greatly. Now, how can a Republican? This is going to sound atrocious, but it's not meant to be. How can a Republican not win in District 19? Tell me the last time a Dem was even close to winning.
Well, there hasn't been.
So
maybe back during Lawton Childs' era.
Yeah.
I was there, Brown, for the tail end of that. But
so why why didn't why didn't Radel stay for 5 terms, or why didn't Max stay for 3 more?
Well, we know why Radel didn't stay for.
Yeah, we know, but why did Clausen only do 1? Obviously it wasn't because they were going to lose.
Well, it's either because they got what they went for, which, to be honest with you, is untold wealth because of their position, or they were disillusioned by what they saw when they got to D.C., or they were just bored. And in Francis Rooney's case, he didn't need the money. He didn't need the power. I think he was one of the few people, and I'll just say this outright, I think he was one of the few people that I've seen in that position who really cared about what his constituents got.
I agree. I consider Francis a friend. Was involved in his campaign, and Francis got up there, and in my mind, not from his mouth, he said, I can't do anything up here. This is crazy.
Yeah, and he runs a company. I mean, he's a guy who is, when you say do something, they go, oh, I'm on it right now.
Yeah. I mean, listen, Francis, great company guy, was appointed, to the Holy See ambassador. I mean, you look at his record, but he got up there, and I think he found himself around some stuff that he didn't want to be around.
Yeah.
Like fellow congressmen.
And lobbyists.
Francis, Francis, would you like to take the jet to Europe? I got my jet, and I've been to Europe. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
So great guy. We'll go down as one of the great people that have lived in the city. Lived in Collier County or anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But so now we know what we got. Now we got to see what happens.
We do.
So
I just wanted to bring it to your attention that the pier, it looks like is making good progress in being rebuilt. I know it'll be 4 years next month that it was blown down. It apparently is going to be 3 feet higher, 18-inch square stanchions, or whatever you call those things that are in the water, and it should withstand a lot of wind and rain and storm surge when it's built again.
Well, it's getting built right. FEMA's involved. Ooh.
Thanks to Christy Noam.
Yeah. Not as bad a person as people think she is.
I don't know. I never met her.
Met her many times. So the piers finally get done. Now, what we do have, and I'm not being a naysayer here, but what if a storm comes this year?
Well, it'll delay things, or it could cause damage because they picked a good year to do it because of El Nino.
And I'm not sure that they knew any of that. But I'm glad the pier's back. Sad thing is there won't be any food on it because you got FEMA involved. FEMA says, can't have food over water. You might feed a fish. I don't know.
But couldn't they cheat a little bit and bring in food trucks or something to?
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about always that before on the pier there was a place.
There was a vendor. Yeah, they had a little booth where you could go and get I don't know, snacks.
Pizza and stuff. Well, it was Cosmos had it for a long time. Here's the deal: if you notice, there are. If you talk to people in the city, there are people upset right now because when you put those pilings in, you don't exactly wake up in the morning and just slip one in the ground.
No,
you got to
they pound them in. Yeah,
and it goes boom, boom, boom for a long time. Okay, we got people already mad about that. Okay.
Oh, really? So I haven't heard this.
Oh yeah, that's going on. All the noise and all this and blah blah.
Are they the same people who are mad about the outfall project being right around the corner from their house?
Yeah. I'm going to be able to see the generator because I can see behind the trees. I'm going to know that it's there. But these are the same people that say, let me say, there's 2 things I saw today. There's way too much noise up above from the planes, and then now we got all this bounding going on. So the idea. Food trucks sound great. Okay, let's have a little area there for food trucks. But guess what? Those same people are going to say food truck. I went down to the pier. They had all these nasty food trucks there, and there were people there, and food wrappers, and no, not going to work. Not going to work. Why doesn't it work? Because the naysayers still control the city.
Well, they seem to be that way in a great part of America, though. I don't think we're unique in that regard. I think there are a lot of people who long for the so-called good old days. I'm not sure the good old days are all that good, but the fact is, time marches on, and so does progress, and you're not going to change that.
Well, the thing is you can't go back to good old days. You can't do it. You got to play with what you got and make the best of it. You don't like it, figure out a way to change it.
And remember this, in 50 years, 2026 will be the good old days.
Yeah.
And they'll be saying, how come that Reg Buxton didn't have his own radio show?
Well,
that's what they're going to say.
Well, then they'll say, that Reggie was pretty smart. He convinced a really smart guy to let him on his show.
By the way, how did the referendum in Everglades City turn out regarding expanding the mosquito control district?
Last time I saw, and on when you went on the site, there was Everglades City referendum, which had more yes votes than no, but it didn't say what it was. So if you didn't know, obviously I'm involved because I'm the chair of mosquito for the county. But I think it was like 14,000 to 3,000 or something like that.
Well, who would be against it?
I'd like the addresses and names of those people so I could at least go shake their hand and say, I really feel sorry for you, son.
Yeah, because we'll avoid your house.
Yeah.
We can make sure you don't get sprayed if you want.
Yeah.
So what does that actually mean? Does that mean that planes and the spraying trucks and everything will head down to Everglades City and begin doing?
Well, it means that whatever our 3 PhDs that make these kind of decisions that we have on staff decide is needed to control mosquitoes down there, will do, whether it would be air spraying or whether we're going to come down there with the trucks or whatever.
Now, so they have no mosquito control down in Everglades City right now?
To my knowledge, I've never heard, even when Sammy was there, I never heard that they, you always just said, man, down there during the season, you step outside and pretty
you're
soon,
eating alive. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, that's the case. We had some pictures of some people we sent down there, and I don't think they were outside the truck for 3 or 4 minutes doing their job, and they were half covered.
This is interesting because I haven't spent a lot of time in Everglades City, but I spent a fair amount of time down in Ochapi and Chokoloskee, helping my friend Larry Block do the Killing of Mr. Watson, the play that he wrote about Edgar Bloody Watson. And we performed that show outside underneath the Smallwood store right on the water. Never once had a nibble from a mosquito.
Well, but you were with Block.
Well, you think he's a mosquito repellent?
Well, if you were a mosquito, would you bite him?
Well, I might not.
Would you say, look at this guy, I want some of his blood in my system? Oh, no, can't do that.
Well, first thing he tried to do is sell me something.
Oh, good talking to you, buddy.
All right, man. Take care of yourself. Reg Buxton is the publisher of Life in Naples magazine, former Naples City Councilman, current chairman of the Mosquito Control District. It's 7:34, and we will be right back.
You've got Dave Elliott.
When it comes to your health, there's no cookie-cutter way to do things. Each person is individualized in their needs and their desires, and that's the case with your hearing, too. Naples Audiology and Hearing Center, with 2 locations in Naples, one in Colonial Square off Goodlette Frank Road, the other in the Vanderbilt Commons at Vanderbilt and Collier Boulevard, are here to help you. They help you with individualized treatment. You go in for a free hearing evaluation, and if you should happen to need a little help from a hearing device, they can offer you the exact device you need, the exact technology you need for your particular needs. Don't let your hearing get in the way of enjoying your life. They even have devices that can cut out the background noise if you're in a big crowd someplace. Naples Audiology and Hearing Center. I've been going to them for years, and I know you should too. Believe me, you will notice the difference right away. Naples Audiology and Hearing Center, online at napleshearingcenter.com.
Are you ready for a culinary experience like no other? Mark your calendars for the event of the season. Sizzle Dining is happening starting September 1st through the 30th. Picture this, a world of flavors, a celebration of taste, and a chance to make a difference in our community. Savor delectable dishes, expertly crafted by top chefs, each plate telling a story of passion and creativity. But that's not all. Sizzle Dining benefits Blessings in a Backpack of Southwest Florida, a charity dedicated to ensuring no child has a hungry weekend. Dine with purpose. Every time you indulge in the exquisite offerings during Sizzle Dining, a portion of the proceeds will go directly to Blessings in a Backpack. So gather your loved ones, invite your friends, and come experience culinary excellence while making a meaningful impact. Share your moments with hashtag Dine with Purpose. Sizzle Dining, taking place the entire month of September, where taste, compassion, and community come together in perfect harmony. Reserve your table today, because with Sizzle Dining, every bite counts and every meal matters.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
He's reached that age where his brain goes, you probably shouldn't say that, to, I can't wait to see where this goes. Dave Elliott.
Thank you very much for being with us today on a Wednesday morning. Coming up in the next hour, in the 8 o'clock hour, we're going to be joined by our good buddy. I love this guy. He's one of my favorite people in the radio business, Jim Watkins. I worked with him many years ago. He actually hired me to be the first real morning talk show host they had at what was the old Wink WNOG. He'll be with us. We're going to talk a little bit more about the election. We're also going to be joined in the 8 o'clock hour by Dr. Peter Bergerson from Florida, formerly of Florida Gulf Coast University's emeritus professor of political science over there. And we're going to talk with him about his thoughts on the election. He is a keen election observer, has seen many of them come and go here in Southwest Florida. And I thought it would be good to get his perspective as somebody who didn't have a dog in the fight. In other election news this morning, Tim Mosier was reelected to the Collier County School Board by a 2.5 to 1 margin over his nearest competitor, a guy named Ford DeLuzma. Mosier with 43,208, or 69% of the votes. And DeLuzma had 18,609, or 30.1% of the votes. So it was basically 70 to 30%. So he will be returning for another 4 years from District 5 on the Collier County Public Schools Board of Education. In the meantime, there was quite a surprise statewide. Byron Donald's not a surprise, winning the Republican nomination for governor. David Jolly, not a surprise, winning the Democratic nomination for governor. And while most of Trump's endorsed candidates won, he did not get his candidate in District 19 in Southwest Florida, largely because he waited so long to make an endorsement that most of the votes had already been cast. And Catalina Lauf, who he endorsed, did not get the nod. A new poll suggests a tight race for governor. And believe it or not, Jolly has a slight lead over Donalds within the margin of error. So it's really a dead heat. About 24% of Sunshine State residents actually cast ballots. So it was a pretty low turnout election all the way around. But that's normally how things go. So Peter will be here in the next half hour, and Jim and I will have a conversation with him about the election. In terms of Collier County Commission, Dan Kowal won his second term on the board. It was about 71 to 29% there. District 4, parts of Naples and East Naples, is who Cole represents. He declared in his statement after the victory, this is a win for the people. So those are kind of the highlights. We'll get into it more with Peter coming up. I saw this article in the paper, and this got my attention. Apparently, up in Orange County, they're cracking down on people who lollygag in the left lane on the highway or wherever it is that left lanes exist. Apparently, they're telling slow-moving motorists move over. Now, it doesn't really do it. I don't think I've ever seen or even heard. I'm sure I've heard of it, but I don't remember specifics. People actually being stopped for going too slow in the left lane. I wish they would do it because it drives me nuts when I'm trying to get somewhere and there's somebody who can barely see over the steering wheel. In fact, they usually look through the steering wheel and, and they're just putzing along. Usually what they do is they're going to make a left turn about 6 miles down the road. So they want to make sure they're in the left lane in plenty of time to really slow down when it's time to turn left. Then they turn on their right turn signal and turn left. Go figure. But Orange County Sheriff's Office posted on social media that while driving slowly on any Florida highway could result in a citation, deputies are on the lookout for drivers holding up traffic. One deputy said to a motorist he pulled over in a video posted on social media, "The left lane is for passing only, not camping out," he said. The post stated deputies often hear about these lollygagging left lane drivers, and they're reminding motorists that they will enforce the law. So do yourself a favor. If you're not going to be making a left turn sometime soon and you insist on driving 5 miles below the posted limit, that's what the far right lane is for. You can always move over a mile or two ahead of time if you're really concerned about it. Now, you might be curious what the Florida left lane law is in reality. And if you want to know, I'm here to tell you. Here's what the Florida left lane law says. It's actually statute 316.081. And it says, anybody on the road with 2 or more lanes moving in the same direction may not continue driving in the far left lane if the driver knows or reasonably should know that a vehicle approaching from behind is traveling at a higher speed. The rule does not apply when the driver is passing another vehicle or preparing to make a left turn. Those are the only 2 exceptions. And your job as a driver, by the way, is not to say, well, I'm going the exact speed limit, so I'm going to stay in this left lane because they're not supposed to be driving faster, so I will be the enforcement here. I know there are people who do that. Well, I don't care if they are going fast. I'm doing the speed limit and I'm in the left lane, so I'm just going to stay here. No, you're not. How many times do you see people pass on the right because the person in the left lane is either clueless or is determined to be the arbiter of what the maximum speed is on the roadway? It drives me nuts. Now, there is a fine for going too slow in the left lane. It's technically issued for careless driving or a related offense, not for slow driving, and fines can vary. In one instance, a guy got a fine of over $160, and that would give you points on your driver's license, could raise your insurance premium. You could have your license suspended or revoked. So I guess the bottom line is, if you're in the left lane, be there because you're either going to make a left turn imminently or because you want to pass somebody who's in the middle or the right lane. Please? Pretty please? I'll ask nicely. A 24-hour coffee shop has been open for one day in Beijing, China, and it already has blown the rest of the barista game out of the park by immediately setting a world record of most cups of coffee served. And how, might you ask, did the clever Chinese pull this off? Well, several videos of the robot barista in action on Sunday showed the creepy coffee maker wearing, by the way, a gray and white jumper as sort of a uniform. It had accessorized the look with a gray cap, headphones, as if anyone had anybody to talk to, and silver chains around its neck, and most concerningly, it wasn't wearing any pants. But it's a robot. I don't think it was anatomically correct. The robot served an eye-watering 202 cups, prepared and served in 60 minutes, setting a Guinness World Record for most cups of coffee served by a robot-operated store in 1 hour. I bet you didn't know there was that category. Well, customers placed their order through a self-service system, allowing them to tailor the sweetness or intensity of their coffee. And all of that with an average wait time of less than 30 seconds per cup. One customer said her coffee was, quote, pretty well balanced, while her partner marveled at how it took no time at all to get his cuppa, despite a massive throng of people wanting one. He said, when I first saw the place, I thought it would take a while to get a cup, but I walked in and got it almost right away. Well, there you go. See, robots are far better than people when it comes to getting the job done. By the way, this robot sort of, although he's not wearing pants, he's on a rig that slides back and forth and sideways and it looks pretty weird. According to Australian economist Dr. Leonora Rissi from Queensland University of Technology, the only sticking point could be the lack the human connection would make that so many of us crave. I'm not sure I crave human connection when it comes to coffee. I just want my coffee. Well, I don't drink coffee, but my drink, whatever it is. I just want my drink. I'm perfectly willing to be pleasant and engage in conversation, but I don't need it. You ever go to a restaurant and the person comes over and says, "Hi, my name is Jasmine, and I will be your server tonight. Tell me a little bit about yourself." No offense, but I didn't go there to have a relationship with you. I went there to, get something to eat, and I will be pleasant, and we can joke around, and we can, be courteous and kind and respectful and all of that. But I really don't want to have a relationship with you. Is that too mean? You think that's too mean? Maybe it is. I don't know. 13. Have you heard about the thing that happened at Penn State University with this drug trafficking deal? Holy moly. Another bright spot at Penn State University. Can you say Jerry Sandusky? Oh, that was a low blow. Well, Pennsylvania Attorney General Dave Sunday announced charges against 14 people in connection to a cocaine trafficking operation involving primarily college students and 2 fraternities at Penn State. No wonder they call it Happy Valley. 13 of the defendants were Penn State students at or around the time of the alleged conduct in 2023 and 24, while the 14th defendant is the father of a student and is charged with tampering with evidence and hindering the investigation, said Sunday's office. Investigators allege 2 senior fraternity members, Agostino Abatiello and Thomas Robinson, were the main suppliers for the group, making regular trips to Philly and New York for large quantities of cocaine, which was then cut and packaged primarily at the Delta Upsilon and Sigma Chi fraternity houses and distributed mainly to Penn State students. Well, hey, at least they were keeping it local. Mr. Abatiello and Mr. Robinson, along with Mohammed Harabi and Lars Ziepvat, are charged with felony, corrupt organizations, conspiracy, dealing in proceeds of unlawful activity, and related offenses. A 5th defendant, Robert Zanola, faces a felony conspiracy charge along with charges of criminal use of a communication facility and related misdemeanors, according to the Attorney General's office. 8 other student-age defendants face misdemeanor counts of possession and paraphernalia. Liam Smith, Michael Brogno, Caden Howe, Connor Hurley, Seth Beardsley, Kyle Ridpath, Daniel Price, and Charles Wiseman. Not that you need the names. But what a deal. They were buying cocaine and having pledges in the fraternity house, cut and packaged the stuff. And did they think they weren't going to get found out? I mean, come on, people. According to the Fort Bend Medical Examiner in Texas, Frank Beard, the longtime drummer for ZZ Top, has died. Frank passed away on Monday at his Texas ranch with his family by his side after a stay in hospice. Cause of death not disclosed. ZZ Top founder Billy F. Gibbons released a statement on his passing saying, quote, "Today, Elwood and I lost a great friend and collaborator, and the world lost one of the most naturally innovative drummers and a great and true son of Texas. His signature backbeat was key to keeping ZZ on top. The band of which he was a part for 6 decades is going to keep on keeping on as he had wished." Frank Beard, the only member of ZZ Top who did not have a beard. As you may have heard, his health forced ZZ Top to cancel its August 5th concert at the Hollywood Bowl. With the passing of Frank, ZZ Top is canceling their show in Salt Lake City and Colorado Springs. They will resume this weekend with 2 dates at Austin city limits at one of Frank's favorite venues. Frontman Billy Gibbons said, "At the time, the band was dealing with insurmountable obstacles and asked fans to bear with them during the interruption. Frank had been absent from the band's recent performances, with drummer Michael Monahan filling in behind the kit. ZZ Top performed without Frank in Saratoga, California, just days before TMZ learned of his death." So Frank Beard, an iconic drummer, now gone, has left the planet. I think he was 77. I think he was 77 or 78. ZZ Top. Love those guys. Elsewhere, Donald Trump's Navy is facing renewed scrutiny after a warship lost all power. A warship lost all its power while deployed in the South China Sea, stranding sailors without drinkable water, food, air conditioning, or working toilets for 4 days. You know what happens when you get a bunch of guys together in a place and they all have to go potty at the same time and the toilets don't work? Oh, that'll be ugly. A generator failure aboard the USS Benfold on July 24th left the destroyer without power. Other Navy ships were called in to provide meals to the crew as the Benfold was towed to port in the Philippines, where sailors were put up in shore housing. Full power was not restored until July 30th, and no injuries have been reported, but I'll bet it stank to high heaven in the place. The Navy didn't disclose the incident for nearly a month, according to the Washington Post. Not that they were trying to hide anything, mind you. The outage comes as the Trump administration faces criticism over extended carrier deployments in the Middle East, according to the Daily Mail, including that of the USS Abraham Lincoln, where reports of desperate sailors have angered military families. Navy families have described morale as being non-existent, and suicidal ideation by some members of the military on the ship, with one sailor's wife telling Navy Times that her severely burned-out husband tried to jump overboard. The Benfold was part of the USS George Washington's strike group, which is currently en route to the Middle East to relieve the Lincoln. So another ship having problems. You kind of wonder who's in charge of maintenance on these things. Tony Romo, you know, he got arrested for DUI the other day. Well, his career may be over. No timetable on his future after operating while intoxicated. TMZ, after his arrest last month, published a 31-minute extended cut of the body camera footage on the Wisconsin police officer who arrested his personage, on suspicion of operating a vehicle while under the influence. Excuse me while I take a little slurp of water here. There we go. Let's see here. I want to say good morning to some listeners who just discovered us from Illinois, who say, going to get the day started from Chicagoland and Queens Park when we get to retire. And glad he discovered us on YouTube. I apologize. I'm sure there are many people who think I just went away. But we are here live on YouTube and at DaveOnTheAir.com every single day. And you can, either way, you can go to DaveOnTheAir.com and get the video as it starts. It'll pop right up on your screen, or you can go to YouTube and type in the Dave Elliott Show podcast, and there you'll find us. Anyway, back to Tony Romo. The former Dallas Cowboys quarterback's familiar goofy geniality collides with the gravity and stilted formality of an encounter with law enforcement, so says The Guardian, who did an investigative piece on it. The video of him struggling to answer basic questions and failing a field sobriety test form a glaring contrast with his smart-suited look a year earlier, beaming as he posed in the spotlight with his play-by-play partner Jim Nantz at the network's preseason media preview. But the question is, what happens to him now? Now, granted, getting a DUI is not the end of the world, and many people have them and go on to live productive, healthy lives afterwards, and maybe he's learned his lesson. I would argue that if this is the only mistake he has made, cut the guy some slack, get him into rehab, get him off the sauce, and have him prove that he can be a worthy member of the team. But I think there's a lot more going on with Tony Romo than that. I think a lot of people feel that Tony Romo is unprepared, comes into the games with nothing really to say, and kind of makes it up as he goes. And I think CBS is maybe going to use this as an excuse to get rid of him altogether. My take only. Coming up in a couple of minutes, we're going to be talking with our good pal, consummate radio broadcaster, Jim Watkins, and then we'll be joined by Dr. Peter Bergerson as well, right after these messages, so stay there.
You've got Dave Elliott.
A minute out for Alice Sweetwaters. You know how much I love Alice's? Well, let me tell you how much I love Alice's. For the last 22 years, I have been telling everybody I can about how great Alice Sweetwaters is. From their fresh-made seafood dishes to their incredible bar, their wild wine list, the ability to eat indoors or outdoors, And I might add, some pretty darn nice gazpacho. You will find exactly what you're looking for at Alice Sweetwater's. Try the shrimp wontons, for example. They're absolutely fantastic. Or the little mini sliders, or the grouper fish and chips, or the grouper dinner, or the grouper Reuben. You get my drift? There's a lot of stuff going on at Alice Sweetwater's, including the best sandwich in America, the lobster Reuben. Check it all out at the corner of Airport Road and Glades Boulevard. Alice Sweetwater's, where they serve crabs, shrimps, and big people.
Have you finally found your dream home, or are you looking to refinance or pull equity from your home? Then call Alpha Title Services of Florida. Don't let fraud or hidden property issues, such as liens, unpaid taxes, boundary mistakes, or a cloud on title, to name a few, ruin your big day. That's why you need Alpha Title Services in your corner. They do the deep digging to complete your contract conditions and assure your title is clear in order to provide the ultimate protection on your family's investment. Before you sign on the dotted line, make sure your future will be truly yours by contacting Alpha Title Services at 239-260-1495. To protect your dream, let your realtor or lender know you choose Alpha Title Services of Florida to handle all of your closing needs. Trust the people who have been serving the real estate community since 1999. Trust the people you can call to ask questions before signing your contract. Trust Alpha Title Services of Florida. Online at alphatitleservices.com. 260-1495.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. The Alzheimer's Association provides care, support, and research to help you take control of the situation with your family and manage the disease together. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome. But prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
When Dave talks, his lips actually move. Dave Elliott.
Thank you for joining us this morning. It's about 4 minutes past 8 o'clock. First, I want to say good morning to my buddy, my pal, my friend who lives in beautiful, what is it, East Cape Coral, North Cape Coral? Jim Watkins. Where do you live, Jim?
Central Cape Coral, Dave, right by the police station.
Right by the police station, so I'll make sure to mind my P's and Q's.
Yeah, that's handy. Comes in handy.
What did
and a fire station.
I'm also happy to welcome to the show this morning Dr. Peter Bergerson, Professor Emeritus at Florida Gulf Coast University, Professor of Political Science over there and Public Policy, if I recall. Did I get that right, Peter?
Yeah, I did. But, I'm in the beautiful Bonita Springs.
So,
Oh, well, even more beautiful than Cape Coral.
Well, I'm not sure I can
agree.
go quite that far, but
So let me, Jim and I are going to just have a conversation with you. I'd like to get your thoughts on the local election. Were there any surprises other than that Democratic socialist who surprised everybody by beating Colonel Vindman in the state Senate race?
no, not really. Some, I guess, minor ones. The Trump back candidate here really fell flat in the 19th congressional district.
Catalina Lauf.
Yeah, and she did move up, at least in my mind, over Weiss, but as we've talked before, what does an 80-year-old guy want? A businessman with no political, no real knowledge of Southwest Florida, and we're running for the congressional seat.
Well,
So,
also Trump only endorsed Lauf on Sunday, and most of the voting had already been done by that time.
yeah. I guess you might say that Schwartzel got more votes than I thought he was going to get, at least a larger percentage of them. But, given the nature of the other candidates and their backgrounds, and the fact that he was really the only local candidate, a serious local candidate.
Well,
then,
Jim and I have both worked for Jim Schwartzel.
Oh,
sort of, not really, but he was there at the time that we were there at the radio station.
Well,
Jim, I'm curious. Do you think that Schwartzel's campaign was the best run of the bunch, Jim?
I do. I actually do, and I want to say this because of all the candidates and their campaigns, their strategies, I found his to be clean. Although he did tout his connections with Trump, I don't think that was not a smart move considering where we are. This is very heavily Trump country. And frankly, despite the fact that he owns the media for a great degree. And I think he didn't overstep his, I don't know, I just felt like it was a clean race. Oberweis, again, I agree with your guest, is that who is this guy? And his commercials were highly offensive. And I consider myself a little bit leaning conservative. And I just found his approach was kind of rude. And I didn't like Christina Loft because I didn't know who she was. Yeah. Nice on the eyes, but that's not going to get me much in Congress.
Well, not only did no one know who she was, she didn't know who Southwest Florida was. So supposedly a secret, or at least a cryptic interview went public that she couldn't even identify some local officials. So,
well, I mean, that's the definition of carpetbagger, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that is
Go ahead.
I was going to say, Southwest Florida is not immune to carpetbaggers. Byron Daniels is not born and raised here or educated here by any means.
Byron Donalds.
Donalds.
Yeah.
Sorry. But,
and what do you think about this woman that ran against Colonel Vindman and wound up winning? She's considered a Democratic socialist, and she surprised everybody by beating the establishment Democratic favorite, Colonel Vindman.
Yeah, well, I think that's like the function of the Democratic base right now, and in addition, Vindman, he just didn't spark any energy at all, and he's a terrible campaigner. So
Really?
Can I ask? Was that primarily for the district encompassing Sarasota County?
No, that was for the Senate race.
Okay, got it. All right. Yeah, I don't
for
know if
the
Bennett
U.S.
has a lot of.
The U.S. Senate. So
Yeah.
the voters are going to have a choice between two women, and with distinctly different approaches to government.
Ashley Moody and this woman, what's her name, Nixon?
Yeah.
Angie Nixon, yeah.
Angie Nixon. Well, it's not an anomaly in terms of how DSA candidates are doing around the country. In Michigan, there was one, got Zoran Mamdani in New York. Any thoughts about turnout? Was turnout a factor at somewhere around 24% statewide?
That's usually, well, I guess I should preface it by saying it's kind of a disappointment, but it's a disappointment that has a long history of a very low turnout. And, primary elections are basically an election of the base. And they're and tend to be behind the scenes endorsements of the political elites within each party. And so, no, I don't think there was a disappointment, but not a surprise.
I'd like to get both of
regarding the turnout.
I'd like to get both of your thoughts on this. I saw a poll this morning that showed David Jolly, the Democrat candidate for governor, in essentially a dead heat with Byron Donalds as the race heats up now that the primary is over. Does that surprise either one of you, Jim?
Well, I don't profess to know a lot about David Jolly, but listen, we have a couple of heavy bases of Democrats on the East Coast and certainly on parts of the West Coast. So there's going to be that support. But my only memory of Jolly is that you liked him back in the day when he flipped from, Democrat. And I'm still trying to figure out who he is and what movement he represents. Because
I liked him when he was a Republican. I think he became an opportunist as a Democrat. He was on MSNBC or MS Now or whatever it's called. And he was an analyst on there, and he was a harsh critic of the president. And then what he did is he left the Republican Party over Trump and became a Democrat. But I think he's still a Republican at heart.
I would agree with you, David. He served in the House of Representatives for a number of years, and he was knocked off by Charlie Crist. His
That's
district,
right.
One of the reasons that he may have switched or flipped party is that his district was a very competitive district, and he narrowly won at least the first time, and against a strong candidate, a Democratic candidate. And then he got disillusioned with Trump, and as you said, David, he became a pretty harsh critic of Trump and joined MSNBC and MS, and so we'll see what we'll see what kind of organization, what kind of money he's going to have.
He's up against $111 million is reported in the press.
Yeah,
for
so
Donalds.
far.
Yeah, so far, and there'll be PACs and dark money and everything else coming into it.
Yeah, for
All right.
sure.
Well, thank you, Peter, for taking a few minutes out to give us your expert analysis. I do appreciate it very much.
Yeah, sure. Anytime, David.
All right, thank you. We'll get I owe you lunch.
Oh, well, I'll be happy to Dutch treat.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Yeah, you.
So, Jim, were there any surprises in your mind up in your neck of the woods in Cape Coral I see the incumbent mayor lost.
Yeah, things are not, I don't know. I got to keep closer tabs on what's going on here. I just opened the Cape Coral breeze. And I'm not a big fan of the city council. There's too many rules. I mean, it just seems like all I ever see now are these city ordinance trucks, these white trucks driving around, condemning people for watering their lawn in the middle of the summer. And I just find the whole thing, they've taken on what always worries me when people get elected to particularly county or on the city level, they get that power and then they start acting like it's their job just to come up with new regulations and new ways to penalize people. We got these flock cameras, and I know that's a county level thing. So if there has to be a shakeup in Cape Coral government, I'm all for it, and I hope they, staff it with people who actually read the Constitution.
Well, isn't there a problem in Cape Coral with the unprecedented and almost uncontrolled growth that's happening there? I mean, you've got people who are running out of water.
Well, that's because the builders want to build in parts of Cape Coral, Northwest Corridor, where they haven't put in the water systems yet. I mean, this is the fault of developers and city leaders who just can't say no. I mean, they just can't say no. And when I drive on Veterans, I feel like I'm on 75 sometimes, And I know there's growth. People want to move here, but a lot of it is the developers are driving this growth because they wanted to take advantage of the land and it's also happening in East Naples too. So you guys know what it's like.
Well, we don't have the same water problems in Collier County that the Cape has. Yeah. Where people's wells are running dry and now they're being told they will be forced to hook up to city services at a cost of what, $20,000 or $30,000.
It's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, we got it worked in years ago. Well, where we moved, we were lucky; they had already had the systems in and everything. And but yeah, the cost of living in Cape Coral used to be the attractive feature of it, but now not so much. Our property taxes are pretty high and. Again, it's the developers, they come in, they see this large area of land, and they say, let's snatch it up. Look at all the development. If you go up Burnstore all the way to 41, you're going to see nothing but scaled, trees down, forests down. They're building like crazy. It's like, well, you got the water yet? No? Okay. Maybe think of that first. Plus, much of it is swampland. So anyway, but I was Wasserman Schultz. Interesting. I'm not a big fan of her.
Boy, she won. She surprised everybody. She was basically, she ran in a district in which she does not live. I think it's District 20.
Yeah.
And
it's heavily minority.
And it's heavily minority. And she was soundly and roundly criticized for even running in the district, which was basically mostly her old district. And she got gerrymandered out of it, but she won resoundingly. I mean, it was no contest. She just blew away the competition. So,
well, they know her up there. She's embedded in the black community. Jacksonville, certainly, she has a reputation as a hard Democrat, fights for the people who want government assistance and need it and all that. So,
well, do you think this redistricting thing could backfire on the governor and his allies who were aiming to basically eliminate any majority Democratic areas in the state?
Well, it didn't work, did it? Because
so
if that
far
was the case, then she would have not won. So, but the redistricting thing, I don't know. It's like the pot calling the kettle black. Is that the expression?
I believe it.
Seems like it goes. It's a two-way street. When the Democrats do it, it's not wrong, or it's correct. When the Republicans do it, it's wrong. So,
well, the other side of that is that the Democrats, if they ever get back into power, which could happen, are just as likely to rewrite the maps the same way Republicans did this time. So, I mean, the precedent has already been set.
Well, now it's on to, I'm just glad that a lot of the commercials are over for a while, but there'll be more.
Oh, they'll be coming out, and, you're going to see a lot more from Byron Donalds. He's got a lot of money to spend.
He sure does. What is the deal with DeSantis' wife? I thought she was going to run. What happened to her?
Well, I think what happened was this Hope, Florida scandal that came up where money that was supposed to go to Hope, Florida was actually channeled into opposition for the abortion rights
I see.
Constitutional Amendment and the Recreational Marijuana Constitutional Amendment back in 2022. And that was her baby, that charity. But they apparently took money that was supposed to go to the charity and instead used it to help run ads against recreational weed and the abortion amendment that were in the state constitution. Plus, I don't think that, honestly, I don't think she came across as a credible candidate to begin with.
You know, at the beginning of the show, Dave, I don't know if you can I run with a little topic? I want to get your opinion since it's in the
Sure.
news. Well, we just had two major deaths occur. One involving, well, the woman who's on trial for murdering her children, who was heavily doped up on God knows what. And then you got the actress, Hayden Panettiere, who I always thought was Miranda Lambert, you know.
She looks like her, doesn't she?
I never knew her name. I thought, oh, that's Miranda Lambert. Anyway, so she has a bag of drugs, and, you know, she died. What's going on with every time everybody, you know, you ran a mental illness ad at the beginning of the program, and I am a big advocate for mental health treatment, but of a variety that doesn't always involve drugs, because drugs is always the default. Here, just take this and we'll see you.
Yeah.
What it tends to happen, and this has been my experience because I come from a family where mental illness is a virtue.
Are you, in other words, you have to reach a certain threshold of mental illness to be a member of the family?
How I got out of there alive, I don't know. But anyway, I've seen enough of it to know that treatment is not always the cure. Sometimes it's the cause. You got to find out what causes the person to have PTSD or whatever. So I see a lot of these people that are just getting, you know, maxed out on their farms, and it's causing these deaths and suicides and strange behavior. And nobody ever wants to address the idea that maybe we're just over-prescribing people. Is that a possibility?
I think it is. I think that in terms of physical health, I know people, including myself, who feel they've been overprescribed. What's wrong with you? Oh, I've got a headache. Well, I got a pill for that.
Yeah.
Or I got an ache in my back. Oh, listen, I got a pill or a shot for that.
Yeah.
Instead of, have you tried, you know, physical therapy or whatever it might be?
Yeah. Have you tried changing your eating habits? Have you tried going out and doing something for somebody else instead of sitting around, you know, scrolling all day and being useless? I mean, there's a lot of different approaches, and there's very little tough love. But my point is that this woman who is on trial for murdering her children, to me, is a good example of that, because that is not normal behavior.
Well, and furthermore, she had apparently been asking for help for quite some time and was ignored by, I guess, law enforcement and medical people. So
that's why I thought of this. And so
Right.
what's going to end up happening is she's going to get convicted, and she's going to be sent to an institution, and guess what? They're going to give her more drugs.
Yeah.
And that's what her life is going to be for a long, long time.
She'll be a zombie.
Yeah. So anyway, I just think that as people listening to this program, you know, ask questions. There's a lot of things that go into mental health. Nutrition is one of them. Your lifestyle is one. Who you hang out with is one. And frankly, a lot of people, I think the human tendency, I could be wrong on this, but I think the human tendency is that people love to be either inebriated, which is why if you go into any public store, look at how much wine they sell. I mean, who's consuming all that wine?
Well,
and that's just
I am in part.
Well, to a certain degree, that's what I'm saying. Human beings have there's something about being high, stoned, drunk. It's permeating our culture, and
Well,
I think
you grew up in Southern California. You grew up in Los Angeles, and you saw on a daily basis abuse of all manner of substances.
Sure.
And other things from the people who are in the news out there. I don't think people realize when you watch the 6 o'clock news on TV, the local news in Los Angeles, the first 10 minutes are always about showbiz. And the reason for that is that it's the headquarters of the universe for showbiz. So you're always hearing about Frank Beard, who just passed away, who died of natural causes, but the drummer for ZZ Top.
Yeah, right.
But you're also hearing about the Hayden Panettiers and the Matt.
Yeah, the guy from Friends.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Why Matthew Perry?
Yeah, Matt Perry. Yeah.
And Whitney
Ariana
Houston.
Grande. Look at Ariana Grande.
She's as thin as a rail.
Man, something is wrong with her. And
there definitely is something wrong with her.
She's a twig. And she's spaced out, too. They got her on this memory thing where a reporter said, "Oh, have you been cleaned?" "I've been cleaned." That's where they erase some of your memories that cause trauma. Man, I thought, is that really a thing that you can go and get your memory? That's like something out of Silo.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Vitamin D plus.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I won't explain what that is for those of you who haven't seen it yet, but
yeah, that's
watch Silo. It's a slow burn, that show. I'm going to switch gears here.
Yeah.
That show is a slow burn, but I can't stop watching it.
Same here.
Have you read the books? Do you know what happened?
No, have you?
No, I want to read them now, though. Hugh Howey is
that's
the
the guy's name, Hal?
Hugh Howey.
Hugh Howey. Right. I do want to me, now they're getting, well, I don't want to give away any spoilers.
Well, we're starting to get the background of what happened.
Yeah, they're right at the edge, and we're about to go over the cliff. So that's kind of interesting.
I think there's 2 more episodes left of this season.
Yeah. And it's metaphorically a great vision because it does sort of deal with this, you got the hierarchy structure where the powerful people are on the top.
And the low-lifes are on the bottom.
The workers are on the bottom who get all the scraps. And it's very symbolic of the way we set up, or the way that organically society set themselves up.
Have you been watching Pluribus?
No. You know what? That freaks me out. I don't know why. There's certain science fiction that scares me like a little child. I feel like a little child.
Jim, you got to watch it.
Really?
It's not that freaky.
Why are they all running around being weird? It's kind of like a Twilight Zone.
Well, that's the whole. I'm not going to tell you why, but you tune in, and when you watch the first season, I will tell you this much: you won't have a freaking clue why. But you've got. I just can't say anything about it without giving stuff away. So
I'll tell you what. For you, my friend, I will take a few minutes or a few hours. My wife and I are looking. She's been actually watching it.
Oh, well, Ray Seahorn, who plays the head character, Carol, is just a pleasure to watch. She's that good. I mean, she was in Better Call Saul, which was also produced by Vince Gilligan, who does this show, and she's just great. I mean, you got to check out Pluribus. And think of it, when you watch it, think of it as maybe, although nobody is saying, an allegory for AI.
Okay, I'll take that stretch. It's possible.
No, I mean, it is entirely possible. So tell me who's going to be on Q&A with Jim Watkins this week.
Well, I'm going to have a gentleman who's written a book, actually, about 9/11 and the lessons learned. We're coming up on that anniversary. It's hard to believe. It's been how many years?
25 years.
Yeah, I mean, I know you remember where you were on 9/11.
I do
remember
indeed.
Where I was.
Yeah.
And he talks about the vulnerabilities and how something like that could happen again, especially in today's environment. And so I'm going to have him on. Also, the Bio News Update is really kicking off. There's some interesting things going on. I find it interesting, and you may find it interesting, but Ebola in Congo is really kind of taken off. It's like 6,000 people now have it, and it's exponential, and it's got a high fatality rate. And this is sort of what the Bio News Update does. It looks at all the big stories going on around the world. They're testing an mRNA vaccine, but they're doing it in Canada, and they've got 80 adults. So they're importing 80 adults who have contracted the Ebola in a controlled experiment in Canada, what could possibly go wrong?
Well, I guess you could call it the mRNA.
Yeah.
A?
Yeah. Oh.
Canada.
I get it.
mRNA?
Huh? Hey, yeah.
A?
Yeah.
A? Take off, eh?
Yeah, so let's hope that the lab is sealed and then nobody gets out.
Unlike
until we're
Wuhan.
allowed. Yeah. Burn your clothes on your way out.
I'll tell you. The number of perils that face us in this world are stunning. You've now got the Washington, D.C. being all concerned about drone attacks. Have you seen this?
Something?
And the president now saying that the new banquet hall that he is building, mess hall as I like to call it,
Yeah.
is going to have a drone port on the roof, but the building itself will be drone proof. So is it a ballroom or is it a bunker?
Yeah.
I
right.
just would like to know.
Maybe it's the top of a silo. Maybe that's how you get into the silo in D.C.
Interesting theory. I hadn't thought of that. It's not exactly round.
I also saw the blueprint. They're going to have a cherub blowing a trumpet in gold with the face of Donald Trump on it.
Are you serious?
No.
I was going to say that would be the last straw for me.
Oh, now they're kicking up some dirt. I don't know if you caught wind of this one, but they're kicking up some real dirt on Trump. They've got now this assistant that he follows around all day long.
Oh, Natalie somebody.
Printer. Yeah.
And printing out favorable reviews about him. And Melania hasn't been seen in a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do they think is happening there?
Scandalous.
Do you know how much this Natalie person looks like Hope Hicks with blonde hair?
Yeah, well, she looks like all of the Caroline Levitt.
And
they all have that sort of.
The president loves her
amazing.
lips.
Likes
Did you
beautiful
know
women.
that?
What's that?
The president thinks Caroline Levitt has beautiful lips.
Yeah, there are just some things you just don't say in the public. That's always been my discretion is the better part of valor.
And how's that working out for you? Not at all. Okay, so what is it? The Bio News update?
Yeah, the Bio News update. It's pretty easy to find. I'm surprised there are not a lot of podcasts that deal with bioscience. It's just amazing. And, you know, that's a big concern right now. I mean, they've got over 100 biolabs all over the world that are, you know, scientists today don't. You remember that scene in Jurassic Park? It's a great scene with Goldberg. What's his name? The guy
Jeff
that
Goldberg, yeah.
Yeah. And he says, you're so busy about asking what? You never bother to ask the question why or if it's right. And we, for some reason, our scientists, they are missing a morality gene or something. They're playing with fire.
Well, why is almost always a question about ethics or morality. And if you don't ask why, it means you don't care about ethics or morality. So
you just care about coming up with something that'll make you a ton of money.
Well,
but in the meantime, you know, nobody asked for agentic AI. Nobody asked for flock cameras. Nobody asked for data centers. Why are they giving things that people aren't even asking for?
Did you hear about the data center that they built? Where was it, in Mississippi? They wanted to build. They offered a woman $27 million for her property to buy it, and she said no.
Really?
She said, I want to stay. My family lived here. I live here, and I'm going to stay here, and no amount of money will make me move.
And meanwhile, all the kids showed up and declared her dementia.
Something. And then there's this other factory that I think it's in Mississippi that they needed to power it by turbines that are essentially jet engines. They run off natural gas, so they run all day and all night, and people in the neighborhood are complaining because it's so loud.
Yeah,
but there's nothing that can be done, because in Mississippi, if you have a turbine or a facility that has wheels on it, it is considered temporary, and it doesn't have to pass through zoning requirements. So it can just exist, and there's nothing you can do about it. So they put this whole thing on wheels. And then they put up these, I don't know what it is, 32 turbines that are essentially jet engines that generate electricity for this place, and they run 24/7. How'd you like to live in that little subdivision?
I would take the 27 million and run.
I think it's a different operation, but Mississippi seems to be the headquarters right now because there are so few people there who can afford to turn down $27 million.
Well, this is the problem that I have with Byron Donalds. Byron, the number one issue right now for a lot of Floridians is these data centers, and they want to build them.
And the reason is really interesting. It's because the amount of electricity that's being used will make electricity more expensive because it'll be in shorter supply for the regular people, and then that will raise everybody's rates.
That's right. And they'll do it in the name of,
Progress.
we're addressing climate change,
Which is ironic, isn't it?
It is ironic because now we're okay with, these huge data centers just so we can all have AI, just so we all can get free medical advice from ChatGPT.
Or make a cartoon version of your face.
Which is fun to do, by the way. I spend hours a day. But no,
I'm sorry to hear that.
Actually, it is a handy tool if you're an entrepreneur because you can create things that used to take a whole lot of personnel. But again,
money.
It's cutting out the market. My point is that Byron, I'm not convinced, going back to politics, but I wish I had more choices. I feel like I don't have a good, solid, this is the guy I want, for governor.
Well, I've known Byron for years.
Great governors. Would you agree that over the past 15, 20 years, we've had a good, steady stream of governors?
I think my favorite governor so far that I've lived in Florida was Jeb Bush.
Yeah. He was a good governor. He set the pace. We have a good mix. It's kind of like that oil-water mix when you're using power tools. We have a good mix of good social services for people who need them. We have a great diversity of people, cultures. We've got Hispanics, African-American, Caucasians. We've got great sports franchises, everybody. I mean, I have friends, and I know you have friends. We all have friends that live in different parts of Florida. Have you ever heard anybody complain about living in Florida? Not me. I mean, except for the typical. But most Floridians love being here. That's my experience.
That's why most people like to move here, because they've heard good things about it. Okay, buddy.
Yep. All right, man. Well,
check out Q&A with Jim Watkins. Check out the Bio News
Update
podcast. And we'll talk to you next week.
All right, sir. Have a great
Take
day.
Care. Jim Watkins on the Dave Elliott Show. And you too, impossible question coming up after this.
You've got Dave Elliott.
Are you ready for a culinary experience like no other? Mark your calendars for the event of the season. Sizzle Dining is happening starting September 1st through the 30th. Picture this, a world of flavors, a celebration of taste, and a chance to make a difference in our community. Savor delectable dishes, expertly crafted by top chefs, each plate telling a story of passion and creativity. But that's not all. Sizzle Dining benefits Blessings in a Backpack of Southwest Florida, a charity dedicated to ensuring no child has a hungry weekend. Dine with purpose. Every time you indulge in the exquisite offerings during Sizzle Dining, a portion of the proceeds will go directly to Blessings in a Backpack. So gather your loved ones, invite your friends, and come experience culinary excellence while making a meaningful impact. Share your moments with #DineWithPurpose. Sizzle Dining, taking place the entire month of September, where taste, compassion, and community come together in perfect harmony. Reserve your table today, because with Sizzle Dining, every bite counts and every meal matters.
When it comes to your health, there's no cookie cutter way to do things. Each person is individualized in their needs and their desires, and that's the case with your hearing too. Naples Audiology and Hearing Center, with 2 locations in Naples, one in Colonial Square off Goodlette Frank Road, the other in the Vanderbilt Commons at Vanderbilt and Collier Boulevard, are here to help you. They help you with individualized treatment. You go in for a free hearing evaluation, and if you should happen to need a little help from a hearing device, they can offer you the exact device you need, the exact technology you need for your particular needs. Don't let your hearing get in the way of enjoying your life. They even have devices that can cut out the background noise if you're in a big crowd someplace. Naples Audiology and Hearing Center. I've been going to them for years, and I know you should too. Believe me, you will notice the difference right away. Naples Audiology and Hearing Center, online at napleshearingcenter.com.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go, almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The impossible question on the Dave Elliott Show.
All right, a chance for you to win today. I was going to say double your pleasure, double your fun, but that's not exactly true. It's a $25 gift certificate to Alice Sweetwater's, which, as I may have mentioned before, is actually closed for a few days to get their Spruce Up regimen underway. They'll be open in just a little bit, and we'll tell you when that's going to be. But you can win a $25 gift certificate to Alice Sweetwater's if you know the answer to our impossible question. So just be the first person to call us at 305-699-2665. That's our number, 305-699-2665. Or you can text us with the answer as well. And the first person to get to us with the correct answer will win the $25 Alice Sweetwater's gift certificate. You see them on TV cooking shows all the time, goes the question, but only 20% of homes have one in their kitchen. What is it? You see them on TV cooking shows all the time, but only 20% of homes have one in their kitchen. What do you think the answer is? Give me a call right now or text me, either one, at 305-699-2665 if you think you know the answer. This is not a kitchen. I'm going to give you a big clue here. I don't know if this will help any or not. This is not something you use to prepare or eat food in any way. But it is something you do see on TV cooking shows all the time. Only 20% of homes have one in their kitchen. The question is a little bigger than the answer, if you get my drift. 305-699-2665. 305-699-COOL. Give me a call if you think you know the answer. You see them on TV cooking shows all the time, but only 20% of homes have one in their kitchen. It is not a kitchen utensil. It is something else. So if you think you know, give us a holler. Tomorrow on the show, by the way, we have Bob Zaney joining us, direct from Las Vegas. Hope you can hang out for that. And we'll also check in with our good friend at the north end of I-75, Kathy Dugan. BA says big window. Big no on that one, BA. Sorry, you're not correct. There's the buzzer to let you know. Let me know if you think you know what the answer is. When you see them on TV cooking shows all the time, and only 20% of homes have one in their kitchen, what do you think it is? I'll take any and all answers. If we don't get an answer, I'll put it on Instagram. I'll put it on Instagram regardless. And it'll also appear on Facebook. You can find me at the Dave Elliott Show on Facebook and Instagram. So give me a holler if you think you know what the answer is. In the meantime, a couple who lost their home in a British Columbia wildfire this summer had to face an additional challenge after the fire, canceling their internet and cable. On August 1st, Greg Brown and his wife woke up to learn a small grass fire had started close to their home on Okanagan Lake. Having evacuated before, they packed some important items just to be safe and waited to see if fire officials could extinguish the flames before they spread. Brown, the owner of the home, said there were 5 planes and 2 helicopters that were working on this grass fire, and we felt they might be able to get to it before the winds kicked up, and they did not, he said. The fire blew through in minutes at about 80 kilometers an hour sideways through our whole community, and it wiped out everything as we understand it. They made out with both vehicles and some possessions, which is more than others did. Brown said a lot of people didn't even have time to get out what we got out and lost absolutely everything. He said they'd gone into town for the day. They couldn't get back. They lost pets. They lost their homes. Access to the area following the Bradley Creek wildfire is still restricted, he says, but he knows his home has gone. Well, now Brown is in St. Albert, Alberta, while his wife is in Calgary, staying with family while also trying to go through the next steps of putting their life back together. One of the things the Browns needed to do was cancel services they didn't need anymore, like cable and home internet. See, my wife called to cancel our Rogers account. Rogers is the predominant cable operator in Canada. And she was told, despite our situation, that we would have to pay a $660 fee to disconnect or pay us $10 a month to hold the account until we had land somewhere else. Those were the options we were given with nothing else. After learning of a neighbor's experience dealing with Rogers after the fire, Brown also expected to have to pay for the equipment that was destroyed. He said, we can't understand how a corporation that big, worth that much money, has zero compassion for people who've lost absolutely everything. Apparently, new rules came into effect in British Columbia on August 1st, quote, requiring businesses to give consumers the ability to cancel subscription contracts at any time without charge. According to a government statement, those rules applied to contracts signed on and after August 1st. Brown's contract had renewed just weeks before the fire. So you can already see where this is going, right? Can you imagine it? Your house burned down and they tell you have to pay $660 to cancel your cable on the house that you can't use. What gives? So Rogers said those rules apply to contracts that were after August 1st. CTV News Edmonton reached out to Rogers and was told the company has a policy in place for these types of situations, and the cancellation fee should have been waived. Rogers refused to provide a copy of the policy to CTV News or say where it came into effect. We're reinforcing this policy with our frontline agents to ensure customers get the support they need when they need it most, he said. Monday afternoon, Brown says they received a call from Rogers and they were told they could now cancel without any fees and that equipment charges would also be waived. He said, I don't want this to happen to anybody else. We're going to be okay. Others may not have been so lucky. So once again, your compassionate cable company doing their best to be anything but compassionate, I guess. Costco is partnering with a nonprofit to launch its own brand of Medicare. The warehouse chain has agreed to work with a California-based nonprofit insurer called SCAN to offer a Medicare Advantage plan that includes a suite of senior-focused insurance products. For Costco, the moves means breaking into a Medicare Advantage industry worth more than $500 billion in which private insurers offer health plans approved by Medicare. And for SCAN, a mid-sized organization with around 500,000 members, partnering with Costco means access to millions of Medicare enrollees who use Costco. In a SCAN news release on yesterday, the nonprofit said the products will integrate with Costco's current prescription, vision, hearing, and over-the-counter offerings, which attracts seniors. Older adults want health care that is easier to navigate, more responsive to their needs, and rooted in organizations they trust, said SCAN CEO Sachin H. Jain in the news release. Our expanded partnership with Costco will give us a strong foundation to explore new ways to help people stay healthy, yada, yada, yada. No word on when or where the plans would officially roll out. SCAN currently offers Medicare Advantage plans in 6 states. So Costco getting into the Medicare Advantage deal. BA still trying to win the impossible question instead of a large window as the thing that's in a kitchen that you only see on kitchen cooking shows. She now says, a hot male chef. No, sorry, wrong button. I didn't mean to push that button. I meant to push this one. Not a hot male chef, Betty Ann. Try again. And finally this morning, American Airlines is making some changes to their first-class cabin, I guess. I have to scroll up because somebody, namely me, scrolled down on this story when I shouldn't have, and therefore I don't have the beginning of the story here. I have to go all the way to the top to get it. But they're making a major cabin upgrade as they battle for the all-important premium passenger who pays way too much to travel in luxury. Virtuoso American Airlines customers could soon notice some big changes when they settle into their seats. The company said yesterday that more than 800 narrow-body aircraft will ultimately receive new entertainment systems featuring 4K displays, Bluetooth connectivity, and USB-C charging. Big enhancements are taking flight, they said in a post on X. New aircraft equipped with the screens are expected to begin arriving in the second half of 2028, while retrofits of existing jets are scheduled to start later that year. The retrofit program is expected to stretch into the early 2030s, according to American. The move marks a notable shift for the Fort Worth, Dallas, Texas-based carrier, which has for years relied heavily on passengers streaming entertainment on their own phones, tablets, and laptops on many domestic flights. The airline said that changing passenger habits helped drive the decision. Customer preferences have evolved, they say. At the same time, improvements in satellite internet are changing what airlines can offer passengers in the cabin. American plans to begin installing high-speed Starlink Wi-Fi on its narrow-body aircraft next year. They said that combining built-in screens, passengers' personal devices, and faster connectivity could create a more personalized in-flight experience while also opening up new opportunities for engagement and revenue growth. So if you're going to be flying American in the next couple of years, you're likely to see some technology changes on there, to be sure. It's going to do it for today. I thank you very much for your time and attention here on this Wednesday morning. Again, tomorrow it'll be Bob Zaney dropping by for a few jokes. Congratulations to all the candidates who won either locally in school board and county commission to the state and congressional levels. It was a good, hard-fought battle, and I'm glad that most of the ads are true. Well, Betty Ann's sister, after 2 guesses, finally got it right on the impossible question, so somebody's out there able to think about it. If you want to find out what the answer to today's impossible question is, go to Instagram or Facebook and look for the Dave Elliott Show. I'll post the question, and you can put your answer in there. And if we do get an eligible person with the correct answer, you will win. Have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow.